In our Successful Writer membership about how to grow your newsletter list. And I wanted to address some of the options. Basically, anything that grows your newsletter list can be divided into kind of two different sections. One is organic growth, one is paid growth. So let's talk about organic first. So for organic growth, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be relying on people who already are familiar with you or your books. So one of the most effective ways for organic newsletter growth is to have a sign up at the back of your book. So by the time a reader gets to the back of your book and they see your sign up, if they want to hear more from you, hopefully they'll go ahead and do that. And usually authors use a lead magnet, a novella, a short story, a free novel, something like that, as an incentive for people to join your email list. So that's the best type of organic growth, I would say, is having it in the back of your book, because then you know that the people coming onto your list are people who wants to hear from you. They know and like your books because they've already read one of them. But especially if you're in a season where you just aren't selling a whole lot, or you only have one book out, or things like that, there are ways to kind of speed up your growth process. So one way that you can add people to your newsletter list, you can do swaps with other authors. Now, in general, I don't do newsletter swaps to promote other people's sales or launches, but every so often I will consider, and a lot of authors will consider, doing newsletter swaps for signups. So they'll say something like, hey, I've got this free ebook. Do you want to share this link with your newsletter? Now, some people aren't going to love that, but some people are going to be fine with that because it's giving their newsletters something in the right genre. It's giving their newsletter subscribers some content. So if you're trying to grow, I would approach other authors in your genre, authors who are maybe at about your level or, a step ahead of you. Maybe don't go to the trad publisher who's a household name. They probably aren't going to want to do that. And then just make sure that it's kind of genre aligned. So you might have a best writing friend, but if they write in a genre that's totally different from yours, not going to be the best fit. So find people in your genre who are at your level in terms of sales and readership, or one level above, and say, hey, if you're interested, I've got a free novella, whatever, in this genre. Would you like to share this with your newsletter? Not everybody's going to like to do that. You're going to eventually reach a certain point where you're not going to like to do that, but to get started, that's totally fine. It's also pretty common for authors, as they're growing their newsletter list, to join things like giveaways or things like that, where it's like a multi-author genre giveaway. Book Sweeps is real well known for doing things like this. The biggest thing that you want to do, if you're considering that, you want to make sure it's very, very close to your genre. And you also want to make sure that however they do it, they are absolutely following all of the anti-spam laws. And the language you want to look for is just make sure that everything they're doing is GDPR compliant. Otherwise, you're going to be violating certain spam laws, especially in Europe. They've got really strict guidelines of when and how email lists can be shared and used. But it can work well if you're at the stage wanting to grow your list, to do these multi-genre giveaways and things like that. Just make sure that it's GDPR compliant, and then make sure that the subgenre is a good match. Don't say, okay, I really want newsletter subscribers. An example would be, let's say you write Christian historical fiction and there's a sign up where it's Christian fiction authors are all getting together. I probably would stay away from that myself. I would focus on something that is aligned not only with the overarching genre, but with your subgenre. Those are the things that I would keep in mind for doing the giveaways and things like that. And then what we can get into next is talking about paid ads to grow your newsletter list. This is another really, really effective way. I think the best way to do that, it's called Facebook lead gen ads. I've got a course when you go to courses.alanaterry.com that talks about how to grow your newsletter list with Facebook ads. That's specific to the lead gen ads. It's kind of its whole other thing. So if you've run traffic ads to sell books on Facebook, this is a whole new type of ad that you can create to get newsletter subscribers. There's a couple more steps involved, but that can be really, really effective. So those are the different ways that I would recommend that you grow your newsletter list. And just a few things to always keep in mind, no matter how you're doing it, is that you are staying GDPR compliant. I also really recommend that you're focusing on readers in your specific subgenre. And beyond that, there's lots of ways that you can grow your list. So I wish you lots and lots of luck as you're working on that.